Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another bracket update. We are officially on to the Elite Eight, and a very unfortunate, situation yesterday with Jamal Shead getting injured. I do think Houston, they only lost by 3 points. That's a top 5 player in college basketball. I think Houston wins that game. Believe he only played 13 minutes total. My main bracket basically shot at this point. It was, going very well yesterday for me. Basically, everything that I needed to happen did happen outside of Houston. Obviously, needing Houston to win. Purdue ends up beating Gonzaga. Solid win by the Boilermakers, trying to avenge losing to a 16 seed. You do have the unfortunate situation with Duke over Houston, the injury to Shead. NC State beats Marquette. I wanted that to happen because, I know nobody has NC State making the Elite Eight at this point. And then Tennessee beats Creighton. I did have Tennessee. So I had Tennessee and Purdue, but obviously the issue at this point would be me picking Houston to win the national title, which obviously will not happen. The 52nd percentile. The analytics bracket is doing very well. It's in the 90th percentile right now. And I wonder who I had in the national championship. Oh, I did have Houston. So this bracket, if UConn wins again, possibly it can do decent. But let's just take a look at the games that are going to be happening today for a spot in the Final Four. Illinois and UConn. UConn sitting -8.5. Bama and Clemson. Pretty funny. Look at the ticket prices. $3.13 versus $22. This is probably not going to be a sellout. It's in Los Angeles, and it's Alabama, Clemson, 2 football programs. Interesting matchup. But I would say UConn, I just don't see how UConn doesn't win based on how dominant they've been. And I think Alabama's going to beat Clemson. Clemson's gotten some really fortunate luck with teams not shooting well from 3. Tennessee and Purdue. You would expect Purdue to win this game. Well, that's actually, if UConn wins, they're going to be a 1 seed into the Final Four. And then Bama's going to be a 4 seed into the Final Four. Purdue possibly could be another 1 seed. And then we would expect Duke to be into the Final Four over NC State. Now, who knows? Maybe NC State, an 11 seed, might make the Final Four. That's why it was so catastrophic when Houston lost to Duke, because if Houston beats Duke and they're still healthy, they very easily probably would have beaten NC State. NC State beating Marquette. But, Purdue's playing well right now. Listen, I have Tennessee into the Final Four. We'll see if I can get that right. I also have UConn, but everyone has UConn. Really can't brag about that. Outside of people who picked Auburn to upset UConn. And then you do have NC State, Duke. There are some people that did have Duke into the Final Four. Some of them are like Duke fans. Other people, it's understandable. They're a 4 seed. I get it. And Duke, the way they profiled was really good. But again, let's be honest. If Houston doesn't have that injury, I think this is Houston being here. But that's just the tournament. That's the 1-game sample. It is what it is when it comes to that. I guess we can take a look at, I wanted to see if the women's bracket, my women's bracket isn't even that good. It's at the 51st percentile, but when it comes to the perfect brackets, there was one remain. Oh, now there's 0. So there's no perfect brackets remaining in either. That's not surprising at all. If we go back to the leaderboard and see who has the number 1 bracket in this entire thing. This person, the 100th percentile, 1 singular bracket. So I'm guessing they have the Final Four. Duke over Tennessee. They have Clemson in the Final Four. They correctly predicted Alabama, Clemson. They correctly predicted Tennessee, Purdue. They correctly predicted Duke, NC State. Dude, come on. Imagine if somebody actually filmed themselves filling this out. This is a crazy bracket. Duke over Tennessee, it's possible. UConn over Clemson. I don't think Clemson is going to beat Alabama, but this person has been right on basically everything. Are they the only ones that have? They're the only ones that have a max of 1830. So, yeah, that's interesting. Either way, guys, when it comes to the games today, I don't know. Did I lose my spot? Go to the scores. When it comes to the games today, in terms of betting, I honestly probably UConn minus the 8.5. Maybe Illinois. I like Illinois, and then I do think Alabama's going to cover a 3.5 point spread there. And then the Sunday games, Purdue minus 3.5. I would say. I mean, I like Tennessee. I do like Tennessee, even though Purdue has played really well. Duke minus 6.5. I think NC State covers. It'll be a close game, but it was just a catastrophic thing that happened. Literally 3 out of 4 things went right, and the only reason I think that Houston lost was because of that injury. What a low-scoring game that was. NC State winning was good. Purdue winning was good. Tennessee beating Creighton was good. What a weird game that Tennessee-Creighton game was. Tennessee went up by like 14 or 15, and then Creighton went on a crazy run. Tennessee also went on a crazy run in that game. Higher scoring second half. And then I figure I would look at some of these NIT games. Pretty crazy that Georgia, who shouldn't even be in the NIT, they made it because legitimately like 15 to 20 teams declined NIT invites. They're only 3.5 point favorites against Seton Hall. Indiana State, Utah, I expected both of those teams. I think I picked both of those teams in my NIT bracket to match up, and I had Utah beating Indiana State. But yeah, rest in peace to Indiana State, man. It's unfortunate that this is, I mean, they're 31-6, and they're not in the, they didn't make the tournament. They would have been a fun 12 seed to watch. Utah is a team that, yeah, they didn't deserve to make it because they were only like 19-14 going into the NIT, and they've won 3 games. Now they're 22-14. That's just not a good enough record in the Pac-12. Is there another CBI? Did the CBI already finish? High Point. Oh, High Point versus Seattle in the final. Wow. And then what is this? The CIT? I don't know, a bunch of crap, but I just wanted to go over some of those games. Either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.